Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, we'll start with Jai Radha Madhav, and thank you very much for joining our study of Srimad Bhagavatam. I see Vatsala Mataji, Vaishali, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Ramkumar Prabhu, Parima Mataji, Nivin Prabhu from Canada, of course, Mukta Sangha Prabhu, and Flavier Mataji from Atlanta. Thank you, all of you. जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय गौरनीताय जय गौरनीताय जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा देवी जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण. So dear devotees, let us chant Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः. ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीन इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरात्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So thank you very much, dear devotees, for joining. We will be continuing our study of Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Volume 2, Chapter 25. And last time we discussed up to verse number 20. So we will be starting from verse number 21. So again, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 25, entitled Lord Krishna Lifts Govardhan Hill. And this is verse number 21. And I think this is, I forgot which session it is of our Shri Govinda Lifts Shri Govardhan series. So let us begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankajanaභaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajanghaye. Vasudeva Paraveda Vasudeva Paramakha Vasudeva Parayoga Vasudeva Parakriya Vasudeva Param Jnanam Vasudeva Param Tapah Vasudeva Paro Dharmo Vasudeva Paragati. आराध्य भगवान व्रजेश तनयस तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधु वर्गेणया कल्पिता। श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेमः पुमर्तो महान् श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्रादराना परा। हरे कृष्ण. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.25.21. Lord Krishna, he is speaking to the Brajvasis. So Indra has attacked very viciously Shri Vrindavan Dham. All the Brajvasis, because they are devotees of the topmost caliber, they have taken shelter of Krishna. Which means if we are devotees, we will take shelter of Krishna. Sharanagati, or taking shelter of Krishna, is a sign of a devotee. We should not think that, oh, why should I ask God for something? Pure devotional service is ahaituki. It is without any expectation. That is true, my dear friends. Pure devotional service is without any expectation, but our acharyas explain that when we are in serious difficulty, it is the nature of a devotee to take shelter of Krishna, because who else do we have? Who else do we have in this whole world to take shelter of? The only person who is worth taking shelter of is Krishna, Bhagwan Shri Krishna. He is the only person worthy of taking shelter, because all our other so-called shelters will disappoint us, my dear friends. Will disappoint us. But only Krishna is the one who will never ever let us down. Krishna will never disappoint us. He is infallible. Therefore, one of the names of Krishna is Achyuta. He himself never falls down and he never lets down his devotee. There is not one instance in the entire Vedic literature where Krishna has disappointed his devotee, or Krishna has let down his devotee, or Krishna has failed to protect his devotees. So the Brajvasis took shelter of Krishna, and Krishna told them that Sri Govardhan will protect us. Because all of you have done such nice Govardhan puja, Sri Govardhan will protect us. Let's take shelter of Govardhan. So Krishna continues speaking, verse number 21. Natrasa ihavaha karyo madhastradri nipatanat vatavarsha bhaye nalam tatranam vitam hivaha. Translation and purports by the humble disciples of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Guru Varga ki jai. Hare Krishna. Translation. So Krishna is speaking to the Brajvasis. You should have no fear that this mountain Govardhan will fall from my hand. And don't be afraid of this wind and the rain. For your deliverance from these afflictions has already been arranged. So Krishna is reassuring his devotees that don't worry. This wind is blowing, this rainstorm is there. Don't think that because of this rain and wind, this mountain, Govardhan, is going to fall from my hand. Don't worry. Nipatanath. Patanath means to fall down. So it will not fall down from my hand. Don't worry. And Adri means mountain. Madhasta. From my hand it will not, na patanath, it will not fall. Don't worry. Now let us see, dear devotees, what our acharyas are commenting here. So Sanatan Goswami says that the last word of this verse is Vaha, which means you. So Sanatan Goswami says that Krishna is going to protect the Vrajvasis, and Krishna is giving full credit of protection to Govardhan. Krishna is not taking any protection. He's saying, Vaha, your protection has already been arranged. Why? Because Vaha, you performed Govardhan Puja. Because you performed such nice worship of Govardhan, now Govardhan will protect all of you. Do not worry. Do not fear. So see, Krishna is not saying, I will protect. He's saying, because you have worshipped Govardhan, Govardhan will protect you. Krishna is so humble. He doesn't take any credit. Although all credit goes to Krishna, Krishna doesn't take any credit for himself. He's so merciful. This is Krishna's humility. And we can learn a very important lesson from this commentary of Sanatana Goswami to this verse. What is that? Krishna is saying, because you worshipped Govardhan so nicely, now Govardhan is going to protect all of you. Which means, my dear friends, please listen attentively to this point. Which means that whatever devotional service we perform now, today, that will come to our rescue at the time of our greatest need. We may be hospitalized in the ICU with COVID-19, and we may be alone, no family member, no friend may be allowed to visit us. But we are never alone, because even in that isolation room, we are with Krishna. Because Krishna is everywhere. That place where nobody can reach, Krishna is there with us. We may be sedated, we may be in a coma, whatever may be the case, we may be conscious, we may be unconscious, but Krishna is always there with us. Therefore, Krishna says, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Declare it boldly, Arjun, that my devotee will never perish. It is Krishna's assurance, my devotee will never perish. When Draupadi was being stripped naked in that Asat Sabha, in the Kuru Sabha, in the assembly of the Kauravas, it is described there were lakhs of Kshatriyas who had been invited to witness the gambling match, the dice game. Dhritarashtra Maharaj had invited people from all over the planet to witness that dice game between the cousins, Duryodhan and Yudhishthir Maharaj. There were lakhs of people there, lakhs of men who were looking lustily at Draupadi Devi. And no one could help Draupadi. And Dushasan was grabbing her hair, her sari, and trying to humiliate her in the worst way possible. The odds were against Draupadi. But who protected her? Krishna. And Draupadi had full Vishwas, full faith that Krishna will protect me. Therefore, in Mahabharata, Draupadi chants, Pratigya tava Govinda name bhakta pranashyati iti samsmritya pranam dharyamyaham. She said that Pratigya tava Govinda, oh my dear Govinda, it is your promise that you will always protect your devotee. Pratigya tava Govinda name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will not perish. This is your promise. Iti samsmritya. Again and again I am remembering this promise of yours, Krishna. And remembering this promise of yours, somehow or the other, pranam dharyamaham. I am somehow or the other holding on to my life. This faith, this Vishwas, we must have in Krishna, that Krishna will always protect us. And Krishna will protect us to the degree we surrender to him, to the degree we develop love for Krishna. Therefore, now, today is the time, my dear friends, when we should take shelter of Krishna. Not tomorrow, today, now. Let us take shelter of Krishna. Let us, from the core of our heart, with full devotion that we have, let us chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Each and every Mahamantra we chant, each and every prayer we offer, each and every act of devotional service we perform, that will take care of us. That will come to our rescue at the time of our greatest need. So let us increase our spiritual credits. Let us increase our spiritual bank balance by being enthusiastic and determined on this path of Krishna consciousness. Sanatana Goswami is teaching us. Krishna is teaching us. He's saying, you performed Govardhan Puja very nicely. Now just see, Giriraj will protect you. Let's go to Govardhan. Krishna says. Now we go to verse number 22. Verse number 22. तथा निर्विविशुर्गर्तम कृष्णाश्वासीतमानसः यथा वकाशम सधनाः सव्रजाः सगो सोप सव्रजाः सोपजीविनः. Translation: their minds thus pacified by Lord Krishna, they all entered beneath the hill, where they found ample room for themselves and all the cows, wagons, servants, and priests, and for all other members of the community as well. So, Srila Shukdev Goswami is describing how there was room for everyone under Govardhan, which means we should not have anxiety. Will I go back home, back to Godhead? Does Krishna know me? Does Krishna reciprocate with me? Do I have a personal relationship with Krishna? We should not have this anxiety. Jivera Swarup hai Krishna Nityada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us in Chaitanya Charitamrita that it is the nature of all of us to have an individual relationship with Krishna. Because we are all related to Krishna. We all belong to Krishna. We should never have this insecurity. Never have insecurity. Oh, does Krishna recognize me? Does Krishna even know what I am doing? No, Krishna knows everything. And Krishna is very pleased with us when we sincerely follow the path of Krishna consciousness. He's teaching us here. The Brajvasis, if you see by material calculation, there wasn't enough room under Govardhan because there were so many Brajvasis, there were millions of cows, so many servants, so many other people, so many other domestic animals. But everyone had enough room. It was not even crowded, which means in the spiritual dimension, there is no population explosion. There is no scarcity of resources. There is no strain on the infrastructure. All those are material conceptions which apply to the material dimension. But in the spiritual world, there is enough room for all of us. Because you see, spiritual world is more subtle. It is mentioned, Bhumirapona vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankariti amme bhinna prakriti ashtada. There are these 8 energies of Krishna. Bhumi, earth. Apa means water. Nala means fire. Vayu means air. And Kham means ether, which means even subtler than air. The electromagnetic waves and all those things. Our Wi-Fi, that's all Kham. It is ether. So we are going from gross to subtle. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. We are going gross to subtle. And then let's go even subtler. Mano means mind, buddhi means intelligence, and ahankar. Mano buddhir evacha ahankar. Iti amme bhinna prakriti ashtada. Ahankar means identification with this body, false ego. That I am not a spirit soul, I am this material body. This misconception is called ego. False ego. What is true ego? True ego means Jivera Swarupaya Krishna Nityadas. Mamay Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. This is true ego. True ego means to identify oneself as an eternal servant of Krishna. Identifying oneself as a spiritual entity eternally engaged in the service of the supreme entity, God, Krishna. That is true ego. True ego means to consider oneself a spiritual entity, eternal. And false ego means to consider oneself, oh, I am this body, I am doctor, I am Indian, I am so and so. This is not the true identity. This will change. In my next life, I may become somebody else. I may take birth in another country. I may have another sets of family members. So this bodily identification is temporary and it is illusory. It is not the real identity. Real identity is I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And all these beautiful devotees, I can see Ram Kumar Prabhu, Mukunda, Flavier Mataji. We are all related. We are all spiritual brothers and sisters. We are all children of God. This is true ego. So we should never have anxiety. We should never have insecurity. Krishna knows us. We have an individual, eternal, secure relationship with Krishna, and Krishna has enough space for us. There is no population explosion in Golok Vrindavan. There is no scarcity, no crowding in Golok Vrindavan. There is no wait list in Golok Vrindavan. Everybody will be accommodated, just like all the Brajvasis were accommodated happily, comfortably under Govardhan. Then we see what Sanatan Goswami says. He says that Krishna is speaking so nicely to the Brajvasis, don't worry, don't fear, because Krishna wants to reassure them because they were scared. And Krishna wants to reassure them that, look, I have lifted up this Govardhan mountain, but it's not a very difficult task for me. It's very easy for me. It's not putting me under any strain. To reassure all the Brajvasis of this fact, Krishna is speaking so nicely to them that don't worry, come, there is enough room for everyone. Like that. So Krishna is so sensitive. He knows the Brajvasis are under anxiety. They are stressed out. So his kind, sweet words, Krishna is reassuring all of them. It's so beautiful. So we should also follow this. Sometimes when devotees, our family members are going through anxiety, as devotees of Krishna, we should take the responsibility of taking care of them and being calm. As devotees, we should try to be calm. We should try to have full faith in Krishna. And as far as possible, we should try not to panic, not to spread rumors, not to gossip, which will perpetuate panic and stress among devotees. We should be very careful, very cautious. Sometimes there is this urge, this need to share information. We come to know that a certain devotee has passed away. It is such a this, oh, I want to be the first one to share it on WhatsApp. And we just copy, share, or copy, paste. We like to share information. I want to be the first one to share it on the group. No, there is no need. There is no need. There are devotees who will share it. We should not be over enthusiastic to share information. Because nowadays, what we have is information diarrhea. Hare Krishna. There is information diarrhea, even in spiritual society. What is diarrhea? When there is too much fluid built up in the bowels, it just comes out. Not as formed stool, but as unformed liquid stool. It's abnormal. When there is too much. So similarly, there is information diarrhea. What is that? We flood WhatsApp, we flood Facebook, we flood everything with so many messages. Many of them are repetitive, many of them are not necessary for everyone to know at that point. But we take it upon ourselves. I have to share, I have to forward. This is information diarrhea. Instead of spending so much time on WhatsApp or Facebook, why not read Srila Prabhupada's books? Is there not enough information in Srila Prabhupada's books? Do we really need Facebook and WhatsApp to get spiritual knowledge? No. So we have to be very careful. We should not spread unnecessary information, because every time we share a message, what is the meaning of sharing a message or forwarding a message on a group? It means we want all the devotees of that group to read that message. So we have to think, is it really necessary? There are 20, 30, 40, 50 devotees on this group. Is it necessary for these devotees right now to read this message? If the answer is yes, then share it. But often if we introspect, the answer will be no. Everyone doesn't need to know that. So we have to be very careful. Especially in times of stress, something is going on, we should not spread rumors. If a devotee is experiencing ill health, we just get a message without verifying the authenticity, we just share. So we should be careful about that. Krishna is teaching us because he's speaking kind words to pacify and relieve the stress of the devotees. Then Srila Sanatan Goswami makes a very poignant observation, and he makes a very, very sobering comment to this verse. He says that just like in Kali Yuga, the present age, the dark age of Kali, just like in Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna is not visible to us like he was in the previous age of Dwapar Yuga, 5,000 years ago, when Krishna appeared on this earth planet. Now we cannot see Krishna. So Sanatana Goswami says, just like in Kali Yuga we cannot see Krishna with our eyes, similarly as Kali Yuga will progress, the Govardhan mountain will also disappear. Hare Krishna. And we see when we go to Vrindavan now, Govardhan is shrinking in size. And Sanatana Goswami says, as Kali Yuga will progress, Govardhan also will disappear. So we should make the most of it now. We should not delay. His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, he had come to Atlanta, New Paniyati Dham, few years ago. And he made a very striking point, which really touched my heart. He said, please chant at least 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every morning, attentively, and follow the 4 regulative principles strictly, and be in the association of devotees regularly. He said, if you don't do this, you will not go back home, back to Godhead. But because you are a devotee of Krishna, because you have chanted Hare Krishna, you will not go to hell. Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj said, you will not go to hell. You will go to the heavenly planets to enjoy. And after enjoying there for many years, for 100,000 years, you will enjoy there. And then you will come back to the earth planet. Once your pious credits are exhausted, you will come back. Just like if we are given a debit card with a certain balance in the bank. Okay, you have $100,000. Suppose I give you Ram Kumar Prabhu. Here is a Visa debit card with $100,000. Take your family, go to Europe, go to Australia, go to Africa, go to India, go to South America, go wherever you want. Go all over North America. Have a world tour. Have a great vacation. You have $100,000 in this debit card, international debit card. Go spend the money. Have a great vacation. Have a time of your life. Go. Of course, Ram Kumar Prabhu will go to Vrindavan and Mayapur, I'm sure, or Jagannath Puri. But let's say there is somebody who is not a devotee and they want to just enjoy in this world. They want to enjoy their senses, sense gratification. They will spend that money and they will enjoy for a long time. $100,000 will last a long time. That will be the longest vacation ever, probably. But once that it's a debit card, every time you spend, the balance is shrinking, balance is reducing, and a day will come within few weeks or months, and it will be zero balance. When that happens, again you have to take your return flight and come back to home, to your place. Similarly, when we accumulate pious credits, we enjoy. When we accumulate sinful credits, we suffer. If we commit sin, we will suffer. If we commit pious activities, we will enjoy. Urdhva gachanti sattvastva, madhyam tishtati rajasa, adho gachanti tamasa. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if we are in the mode of goodness, we will go up and enjoy. If we are in the mode of passion, we will stay here on earth. If we are in the mode of ignorance, we will go to the hellish planets. It's simple. Lord Krishna himself says. So, because we have done pious activity, we will go to the heavenly planets. Because we have chanted Hare Krishna, we will not go to hell. Jayapatak Swami Maharaj was saying. So we'll enjoy for 100,000 years, and after 100,000 years, we'll come back to earth because our pious credits will be exhausted. So we come back to the earth. But Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj said, what will happen here after 100,000 years? Our Krishna consciousness movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is only going to last for 10,000 years. 100,000 years from now, you will not see Bhagavatam. You will not see temples. You will not see devotees. Kali Yuga will be full-fledged going on. There will be intoxication, there will be illicit sex, there will be gambling, there will be meat eating, the lifespan will become short, there will be pollution, it will be horrible. There will be severe drought, there will be shortage of water, water will be polluted, the crops and plants and fruits and vegetables will not grow. People will be forced to eat meat because there will be no vegetables and fruits on earth, because the water and the soil and the air will be so polluted. and everyone will have to eat meat. There will be no choice. And then even the animals will be finished. And then human beings will eat human beings. All this is predicted in our scriptures. It's going to happen. And Srila Jayapada Swami Maharaj said, do you want to take birth on Earth planet at that time, 100,000 years from now, when Kali Yuga will be going on full-fledged? And everybody was shaking their heads. No, no, Maharaj, no. Then Srila Jayapada Swami Maharaj said, then practice Krishna consciousness very nicely. It's a very beautiful life. We have such amazing, intimate, heart-to-heart friends like all of you. Srila Prabhupada has made, like Govardhan, he has made this beautiful house called ISKCON, where the whole world can live. Krishna consciousness, centered around Krishna. Krishna is standing in the center, under the Govardhan of ISKCON. All we have to do is come, have nice relationships with devotees, be friendly, follow the 4 regulative principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Japa and in Kirtan when we come together. Nice melodies are there, singing nicely, nice bhajans, nice stories of Krishna, Krishna Katha. It's a happy life, and eating such nice, pure, vegetarian, delicious Krishna Prasad. So there is feasting, there is dancing, there is singing, there is friendship, there is entertainment, there are stories. It's such a happy life. We don't have to worry about so many things. Many patients I see in the hospital, they have liver cirrhosis. Why? Because of alcohol. They have lung cancer. Why? Because of smoking. So many problems I see. There are patients with HIV or some infections, STDs. Why? We know why. Because of breaking the regulative principles. So therefore, just by practicing Krishna consciousness, we are saved from so many problems of this world. So Krishna consciousness is a very happy and holistic path of living happily in this world. And after this life, we go to the next world, which is even better, the spiritual world. So it's a win-win situation, my dear friends. Everyone should become devotees. Everyone should become God conscious. Everyone should become Krishna conscious. And this message we have to share with everyone. If you are a Christian, become a better Christian. If you are a Muslim, try to become a better Muslim. And if you are a Jew, try to become a better Jew. If you are a Hindu, try to become more Krishna conscious. It's so simple, simple message. It's a universal message, not a sectarian message, not at all. So then we go to the next point. This is very beautiful. Sripad Sanatan Goswami says that there was even furniture. I repeat, Sripad Sanatan Goswami says there was even furniture underneath Govardhan. There were places for them to sit, there were tables, everything was there. There was place for them to relax and sit together and talk. All the facilities were there under Govardhan. Isn't it incredible? Krishna lifted up Govardhan, and underneath there is enough space for everyone, and there is even furniture. Sripad Sanatan Goswami says. It was very beautiful. And then Sripad Sanatan Goswami quotes from Garga Samhita. And he says that the water could not come underneath Govardhan because there was rain everywhere. Krishna lifted up Govardhan like an umbrella. And from the sides, the water did not gush in to disturb the people. Why? Because Sripad Sanatan Goswami says, by Krishna's Ichha Shakti, by Krishna's sweet will, the water did not come underneath. So everything was nice and dry and clean under Govardhan. Now, how exactly that happened, we are going to read from Garga Samhita towards the end of this class. But let us keep going. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says, in relation to verse number 21, that all the Brajvasis, they came under Govardhan with all their essential items, with their all their valuables, with their cows, with their servants, with the priests, with their bullock carts, all their paraphernalia. Nothing was left out in the storm. Everything was brought under Govardhan and everything was rescued by Govardhan. Then we go to verse number 23. Verse number 23. Shuttrid व्यथाम सुखापेक्षाम हित्वा तैर्व्रजवासिभिः वीक्षमाणो दधाराद्रिम सप्ताहम नाचलत्पतात्. Translation: Lord Krishna, forgetting hunger and thirst and putting aside all considerations of personal pleasure, stood there holding up the hill for 7 days. Saptaham, 7 days, as the people of Vraja gazed upon him. Hare Krishna. Just imagine this. You're standing for 7 days and 7 nights holding Govardhan. Krishna is standing and we can all see him. It's so beautiful. So here in Harivamsha it is said, Sadartha Sangato Meghair Giri Savyena Panina Grihabhavam Gatastatra Grihakarena Varchasa. But when Krishna held up Govardhan, Giri Savyena Panina, with his left hand, he held up Govardhan. Sangato Meghair, Govardhan reached the clouds in the sky. And underneath, Griha Bhavam Gatastatra Grihakarena Varchasa. Underneath, there was a Griha Karena, Griha Akar, like a house with all furniture and rooms, and everyone could stay comfortably. All the arrangements were there under Govardhan. He's describing. And then there is a very beautiful verse from Vishnu Puran, which is mentioned in the purport, which we will read. In Vishnu Puran, it is mentioned, Vrajaikavasibhir harsha vismitakshayar nirikshitah gopa gopi janair hristhai priti viksharitekshanahi samstuyamanam charitah krishna shailam adharayat. So it is mentioned that Lord Krishna held up the mountain. Krishna Shailam Adharayat. Krishna held up the mountain while his praises were chanted by the residents of Vraja. Vrajaika Vasibhir Harsha Vismitakshayar Nirikshita. All of whom now had the opportunity to dwell together under him and who Nirikshita, who glanced at him. How Harsha, with joyful, and Vismita, with amazement. So our acharyas explain what is the meaning of Vismita. In Sanskrit, Smita means to smile. Smita means to smile. Krishna is called Smita Krishna because Krishna always has a natural smile on his face. Krishna is never frowning, Krishna is never sad. Krishna always has a natural smile on his face. Krishna is always smiling. Whether someone offers him prayers or whether someone yells at Krishna and criticizes Krishna like Shishupal did, Krishna always has a smile on his face. What to do? Because Krishna is Sat Chit Ananda. Krishna is eternal, he is full of knowledge and is full of bliss. Because Krishna is made up of bliss, Krishna's nature is to be blissful. He always has a very sweet, mild smile on his face. He's called Smita Krishna. So in Sanskrit, there is a word Vismita. Smita means to smile, and Vismita means the smile goes away. So what does that mean? So look at my face now. So smiling. This is smiling. And suppose something amazing happens, like I'm looking at Mukunda. Now suddenly Mukunda manifests a four-arm form. Then I'm looking at Mukunda, I'm smiling. And suddenly Mukunda manifests a four-armed form. Then what will happen to my face? I'm looking, smiling like this at Mukunda. Oh, what happened? Suddenly Mukunda has become a Hari Parshad. He has become a associate of Lord Krishna, four-armed form. My smile went away. I was looking at him and smiling. Suddenly my smile went away. This is called Vismita. The smile goes away. When there is amazement, when something amazing happens, wonderful happens, you're looking and suddenly your smile goes. That is called Vismita. So all the Brajvasis, they were looking with great happiness and they were looking with amazement. Krishna, you are so beautiful. And look how you have lifted up the whole mountain. You are our little 7-year-old boy. You're so amazing. Their smile went away because that's called Vismita. Smita means to smile. Vismita means the smile goes away. So they were looking with such amazement at Krishna and they were glorifying him. They were glorifying Krishna. So let's see what the acharyas have to say. So Sanatan Goswami says, hunger, thirst, and any bodily discomforts. Sometimes we have to answer nature's call. Sometimes we have gas, we have this indigestion, acidity. All this bodily discomfort, they did not exist under Govardhan. No hunger, no thirst, no bodily discomfort. Amazing. And Sanatan Goswami says, why did hunger, thirst, and bodily discomfort vanish? Shripad Sanatan Goswami says, because all the Brajvasis, they were continuously gazing at Sri Krishna with great happiness and with great amazement. Harsha and Vismita both. They are just gazing at Krishna. Krishna, you're so stunningly, so charmingly beautiful. Oh, Krishna, your body is softer than freshly churned butter. Your complexion is like beautiful, freshly formed, rain-filled cloud. Every limb of your body is so beautiful. Your limbs are so slender and beautiful. You're wearing that beautiful yellow dhoti. You're looking so effulgent. Look at your eyes. They are so beautiful. Lotus eyes. Such beautiful shape. Your eyes. They're like lotuses. Your lips are reddish, like the bimba fruit. Your beautiful rows of teeth. They are like the buds of a white jasmine flower. Your teeth. Your nose is so beautiful. Your ears are so beautiful and they have got very nice earrings. Your hair is curly and black, but it is extremely soft and shiny. You have very soft hair. It is very shiny, very effulgent, curly black. And locks of black hair are coming on the side of your face also. You have a very beautiful peacock feather tucked in your hair. And with the tip of the little finger of your left hand, you're holding this beautiful mountain. And you're standing in the Tribhanga form, threefold bending form. You have got three bends in your beautiful, 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 soft body. Where are the three bends, Krishna? You are bent at your legs, you're bent at your waist, and your neck is also bent. And then holding a flute in your right hand, you are playing your flute with just one hand. Krishna has different types of flutes, three types of flutes. There is Murli, there is Vamshi, and there is Venu. And depending on how many holes are there in the flute, there are different names. Krishna has one particular type of flute which has got only three holes. So that flute with just three holes, Krishna can play with one hand. So Krishna is playing flute with one hand, right hand, with left hand is holding Govardhan. His body is bent at three places, his neck, his waist, and his legs. And in the Tribhanga Murti, our Giridhari, Gopal, he's playing flute. What is the music of this flute, my dear friends? There is music in this world. There are beautiful, beautiful, melodious musical instruments in this world. There is the harmonium, there is kartal, there is mridanga, there is piano, there is violin, there is sitar, there is veena. There are so many musical instruments, my dear friends. Take the sweetness of all these musical instruments and you condense it into one instrument and that is Krishna's flute. Krishna's flute is the origin of all music. Any wonderful music, my dear friends, that you might have heard, it is but a small fragment of Krishna's music emanating from his flute. Krishna's flute is the source and origin of all music, and it is millions and millions of times more melodious and pleasing to the ears than any music we have heard in this world, my dear friends. It is the original music. When Krishna plays his flute, the gopis drop everything, whatever they are doing, and they run to the forest. Krishna's friends, they leave everything and they go with the cows to Krishna when Krishna plays his flute in the morning. Whenever the cows go here and there eating grass, when Krishna plays his flute, they leave everything and they come to Krishna. Yamuna Devi, the river Yamuna, which is flowing swiftly, when Krishna plays his flute, Yamuna comes to a standstill to hear Krishna's music. It is so wonderful, so amazing. And even non moving objects like the rocks and stones, they begin to melt when Krishna plays his flute. So the immovable objects start moving, start melting. And the moving objects like the river, they come to a standstill. When the cows are eating grass and Krishna plays the flute, they stop munching on the grass. Their ears stand up and they are hearing with great attention Krishna's flute. What is the music of Krishna's flute, my dear friends? The sound of Krishna's flute is nothing but Krishna's unlimited love manifesting through his flute. It is not just ordinary music, it is Krishna's love for each and every one of us. Krishna's love for Flavia Mataji, Krishna's love for Arundhati Mataji, for Kaivalya Prabhu, for Dilip Prabhu, for Jayashri Mataji, for Tanni Mataji, for Manju Mataji, for Mukta Sangha Prabhu, for Mukunda, for Nirvi, for all of you. I'm not able to go. Yeah. For Nivin Prabhu, for Parima Mataji, for Pradnya Mataji, Ram Kumar Prabhu, Vaishali Mataji, Vatsala Mataji, Veena Mataji. Krishna's individual love for all of you, Krishna's unlimited sweet love manifests as the sweet music of his flute. Therefore, everyone, they not just skip a beat, but they are completely mesmerized by Krishna's flute. And for 7 days and 7 nights, Krishna was playing his flute, my dear friends. Just close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you're in a suitable place, please close your eyes and envision this beautiful scene. We are all under Govardhan mountain. Govardhan mountain has unlimited amount of jewels which are sparkling, and it has produced a very beautiful brilliant light. So it's not dark. Outside everything is dark because of the clouds and the rains and the storm, but underneath Govardhan there is wonderful effulgence, illumination. And Krishna, who is more effulgent than millions of suns, is right in the center. Krishna is in the center, holding Govardhan mountain like this. He is in a threefold bending form. He's wearing his beautiful Pitambar Vastra, his yellow dhoti, and he's playing the flute. He's got his peacock feather, he's got his lotus eyes, and Krishna is simultaneously looking at each and every one of us. So even devotees who are apparently standing behind Krishna, Krishna is looking at them. Everyone is feeling that Krishna is looking only at me. Krishna is giving individual attention to all the devotees. And for 7 days and 7 nights, one on one, Krishna is reciprocating with all the devotees. So many calamities came on Vrindavan, but never has there been a time when everyone is able to see Krishna at the same time. Never. This is the first time where all the five rasas of Vrindavan, the mellow of Shantaras, neutrality, the mellow of servitude, serving, Dasyaras, the mellow of friendship, Sakhyaras, the mellow of parental love, Vatsalya, and the mellow of conjugal love, Madhurya Prem. All the five rasas are happening simultaneously. This has never before happened, my dear friends. Never. First time in Braj Leela. Therefore, Govardhan Leela is such a favorite Leela of all the devotees and of Krishna. Normally, the gopis are very bashful, very shy to look at Krishna directly. What will parents say? What will neighbors say? Because they are unmarried girls. So they are very shy to look at Krishna. They want to look at Krishna in the morning when Krishna is going with his friends and his cows to graze them in the pasture grounds of Vrindavan. When Krishna is leaving, the gopis want to look at him. And they do look at him. But it is always with some hesitation. Because what if parents see? What if the neighbors see? What will they say? So they are little shy to look at Krishna. But still, from the side of their eye, they look at Krishna. When Krishna comes back in the evening with his cows and his friends, covered with dust of Vrindavan, again the gopis want to look at Krishna, but they cannot look. Because what will parents say? What will neighbors say? They are always conscious, they are always very shy to look at Krishna. So they just catch just a quick glance at Krishna. Pretending to do their work, they will just take a quick glance. They will go to the courtyard, their front yard of their house, because Krishna is walking on the road. So they will go to the front yard of their house on the pretext of doing some work. Oh, I have to water Tulsi Maharani. Mother, I'm going out. Mother is also out. Mother is also watching Krishna. The father is also watching Krishna. Brothers are watching Krishna. Everyone is watching Krishna. But only the gopis, young gopis, they have to think of so many social considerations. So they say, oh, I'm coming out because I have to water Tulsi Maharani. On some pretext, I have to milk the cow or I have to tie up the cows. On some pretext, they will come out and they will look at Krishna. They will steal a quick glance at Krishna. But they are not satisfied. But now, under Govardhan, my dear friends, nobody is going to blame the gopis for looking at Krishna. Why? Because everybody is looking at Krishna. He is performing such a miraculous feat that no one is going to blame the gopis. Oh, why are you looking at Krishna? No. Who has heard of a 7-year-old boy pick up a mountain like this for 7 days and 7 nights? So the gopis were completely justified in gazing at the beautiful form of Shamsundar Krishna for 7 days and 7 nights. In this way, all the Brajvasis, they had the best time of their life under Govardhan. This teaches us, my dear friends, that the greatest calamity can be transformed into the greatest benediction if we take shelter of Krishna. This attack by Indra was the worst calamity. Everything was going to be destroyed. But because the Brajvasis very sincerely took shelter of Krishna, such a calamity transformed into such an opportunity to express love for Krishna and to feel union with Krishna. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. It can transform reversals, calamities into great opportunities for spiritual progress. Being attacked by Dushasan in the Kuru Sabha, in the assembly of the Kauravas, was the greatest calamity for Draupadi Devi. But by taking shelter of Krishna, she transformed that calamity into the most intimate reciprocation with Krishna. She called out to Krishna and Krishna reciprocated in the most intimate way. He became her sari. And right there in the middle of the Kuru Sabha, in the presence of lakhs of Kshatriyas, Krishna was embracing Draupadi Devi in the form of her sari. And nobody could understand. Only Draupadi Devi could understand. This, my dear friends, is the beauty and power of Krishna consciousness. So everyone came under Govardhan. There was no thirst, no hunger, no physical discomfort. Why? Because the Brajvasis were gazing at the beautiful form of Krishna. They were beholding the beautiful form of Tribhanga, Giridhari, Shamsundar, Krishna. And for Krishna also, there was no hunger, no thirst, no discomfort. Why? Because Krishna was gazing at his beloved devotees. This is the mystery. Why there was no thirst, no hunger, and no discomfort. Haven't we experienced sometimes when we are very blissful, we get a very good news, we are so excited, so happy that we forget all our worries and pains. Something similar, but unlimited times more happened to Krishna and the Brajvasis. Krishna felt no discomfort because he was looking, gazing at his wonderful devotees. And the devotees were blissful because they were gazing at their Krishna, the only object of their love. And Srila Sanatan Goswami says Krishna did not even move his feet for 7 days and 7 nights. Krishna was standing in the same posture. Krishna was moving his hands, his right hand, not his left hand. With left hand he was holding Govardhan. Krishna was moving his right hand. He was playing the flute. Some people even came and fed him some butter, and Krishna ate all that. So he was moving his mouth, he was moving his right hand. But Krishna did not move his left hand, and Krishna did not move his lotus feet. Krishna was standing exactly in the same posture for 7 days and 7 nights. He did not move his legs. Sripad Sanatan Goswami says, why? Because he wanted to reassure Yashoda Mai, Nanda Baba, and all the Brajvasis that I am not in any discomfort. For example, if I'm speaking and I keep shifting, I'm sitting cross-legged, then I put my this leg over that leg, then that leg, I'm shifting. What does that indicate? I'm not comfortable. When one particular position of the body becomes uncomfortable, then we shift and we try to find a more comfortable position because we are not comfortable. But Krishna did not move an inch to prove to his mother and father and all the Brajvasis who loved him more than their own life, to prove it to them that I'm extremely comfortable. I'm not shifting or adjusting my posture. Nothing. To tell them, to reassure them that I'm very comfortable. Don't think that lifting up this Govardhan is putting me through some discomfort. I'm very comfortable. Don't worry. See, Krishna is thinking about his Brajvasis. And in this way, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur makes the point that everyone thought that Krishna was looking only at them. And then 1 week, 7 days and 7 nights passed, my dear friends. For the Brajvasis, it felt like it was less than one ghatika. Ghatika is a Vedic measurement of time. It roughly translates to half an hour. To be precise, it is 24 ghatikas, 24 minutes. So one ghatika is roughly 24 minutes. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that for the Brajvasis, 7 days and 7 nights went by like this, as if it was less than a ghatika. This, my dear friends, is the nature of a devotee. Please give me your 100% undivided attention now. This is the nature of a devotee. Whenever we are immersed in Krishna consciousness, the time flies like this. If we are absorbed in our japa for 2 hours in the morning at least, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and we are envisioning this form of Krishna, Govardhandhari Sham Sundar Krishna with a peacock feather, threefold bending form, beautiful smile, lotus eyes, his flute, his yellow dhoti, tulsi leaves at his lotus feet. If we envision this beautiful form of Krishna and we are hearing with the eyes of our mind, we are visualizing our favorite form of Sham Sundar, Gopinath, Krishna. With our mouth and tongue, we are chanting this beautiful Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has given us. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. And with our ears, we are hearing the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So you see, with the eyes of our mind, or even with our physical eyes, we can look at the darshan of Krishna in a photograph. We are seeing Krishna, we are hearing Krishna Nam, and we are chanting Krishna Nam. In this way, if we are absorbed for 2 hours, without planning our day, without thinking who did what, who said what I will do, what I will say, without looking at the text messages, without looking at the phone, without even touching the phone. If we sit in one place, not standing, not walking, if we sit in one place and we chant for 2 hours, we chant our 16 rounds attentively. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we are absorbed, then, my dear friends, we will feel that these 16 rounds, these 2 hours minimum, it just flew by. It just flew by. Oh, it's already 6:30. Oh, 4:30 to 6:30, already finished. I wish I could chant more. Now it is time for Ashtakams, or now it is time for Bhagavatam class. You will feel like that. Then, after, if we are absorbed in Krishna Katha, we feel, oh, why 1 hour is over? Why the Bhagavatam class is over? I was relishing hearing about Krishna. That feeling comes when we are absorbed, which means activities in Krishna consciousness, they go away, fly away like minutes. And separation from Krishna feels like, oh, when will this separation end? When will this separation end? Even small separation feels like a long time. That is the meaning of love. If we are experiencing that, that means we are making spiritual advancement. If we feel, oh, I wish I could hear more Krishna Katha. Oh, I wish I could do more Harinam Sankirtan. Oh, why did this Kirtan end? Oh, why did my Japa session end? If we feel like this, oh, why is the satsang ending? Why do we have to go now? Why can't I be with the devotees? If these feelings are coming, that means we are making spiritual advancement. Sometimes devotees ask, how do we know if we are making spiritual advancement or not? The simple self-assessment yardstick we can use. If after finishing 2 hours of japa, we feel, oh no, I wish I could chant another hour. Because sometimes we finish 16 rounds in 1.5 hours, 1 hour, 40 minutes, and then we just roll up our bead bag and keep it. Okay, 16 rounds done. No. I was listening to one lecture of my Guru Maharaj recently. It's an initiation lecture. Those of you who want, I can share it with you. Just send me a message, I will share it with you. In that, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, clearly says that we must chant for at least 2 hours every day. At least 2 hours. Not that if 16 rounds are over in 1.5 hours, we stop. At least 2 hours we must. There are 24 hours in a day. At least 2 hours we must chant. And at the end of that, we should feel, oh, I wish I could chant more. And if we have time, we should chant more. If we don't have office that day, we don't have any other commitments, we should chant more than 2 hours, if possible. If after Bhagavatam class we feel, oh, why this class is ending, we should hear more Krishna Katha. When we are reading, we decide, okay, now half an hour I'm going to read Bhagavatam. We are sitting and we are reading Bhagavatam. And after half an hour, the wife is calling, come for prasadam. And we say, yes, coming, just wait, let me read a little bit more. Or the husband is calling, come on, we have to go shopping. And the wife says, wait, just give me a few more minutes. Let me finish this chapter of Bhagavatam. Let me finish this chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. You also come here, Prabhu, come here. See what Mahaprabhu is doing. Like that. If that kind of feeling is coming, that means we are making spiritual advancement. Because separation from direct Krishna consciousness feels like a big problem, very big pain. And when we are in Krishna consciousness, even 3 hours of katha will feel like, oh, it's over. Now, sometimes our physical body doesn't allow us to sit in one place and hear for 3 hours. To sit in one place and chant for 2 hours. We get back pain, we get cramps in the legs. Therefore, my dear friends, we should take care of our health. We should watch how much we are eating. We must watch how much physical activity we have. Are we walking? Are we doing bhujangasana to strengthen the back? I had a lot of back problem. And once a very senior brahmachari from Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir, Govinda Prabhu, I had met him in Florida for a retreat. in 2017, Thanksgiving weekend. I still remember. And he told me, he said, Prabhu, you should do Bhujangasana. You should walk every day. Take a nice walk for exercise. Even Prabhupada used to do that, brisk walk. And you should do Bhujangasana. Bhujangasana means you just lie down on your belly and then you lift up your head, neck, hands, and feet above the ground. And you hold it. Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then you go down. Again, you do multiple times repetitions. It strengthens the back, upper back, middle back, lower back. It strengthens the back muscles so that we don't get back pain. So we should try to lose weight. We should try to do Bhujangasana, exercise, walk, so that our body is fit. Half an hour we can invest for exercise, and we can play a lecture at that time or kirtan. So we are absorbed even while exercising. And we should take care of our body. Why take care of our body? Govind Prabhu told me, do Bhujangasana, go for walks every day, take care of your health, don't put on weight, so that for 2 hours every day, you can sit in one position and chant Hare Krishna. These were the words of Govind Prabhu. He said you should become so fit that you should be able to sit in Padmasana for 2 hours without moving. Padmasana. And you should chant with a straight back. Hare Krishna Mahamantra for 2 hours every morning. I cannot do Padmasana, but at least I can sit cross-legged in one place and chant for 2 hours. We should take care of our body. This body is a gift from Krishna. We should take care of it. We should not overeat or, because of lack of taking care of this body, now the body is not allowing us to do our bhajan nicely. You see all these sadhus in Vrindavan, they sit and they chant for 8 hours continuously. They chant 2 lakh, 3 lakh names of Krishna. Because they don't overeat. They are slim and they walk, they do Govardhan Parikrama. By walking also your back becomes very strong. And then you can sit with an erect back and chant nicely. So therefore, we must take care of our body so that we can do bhajan nicely. So we are making spiritual advancement to the degree we are getting attached to the process of devotional service, hearing, chanting, dancing, Harinam Sankirtan, deity worship. We should get attached to our deities also. And any separation from devotees, if someday we have a release or we have a launch of something and we are very busy and we are not able to attend a satsang, not able to hear a Bhagavatam class, one day we should feel, oh, what a tragedy, what a loss. Today I could not meet devotees. Today I could not see the face of a devotee. Today I could not hear a Bhagavatam class. Today I could not read Chaitanya Charitamrita. We should feel that those pangs of separation. If that is happening, that means we are making spiritual advancement, my dear friends. Spiritual advancement is not how many invitations we are getting to speak Krishna Katha. Spiritual advancement is not how many likes we are getting on Facebook or how many devotees are glorifying us or how many members are joining our Bhakti Vriksha. How popular am I as a Bhakti Vriksha leader? Are people listening to my Katha? These are not parameters for spiritual advancement, my dear friends. Because devotees are so kind-hearted. They may say words of appreciation. Prabhu, you are very advanced. Prabhu, you are very nice. Prabhu, don't leave me. Prabhu, give me nectar. But we should not believe that. They are saying that because they are attracted to Krishna. And Krishna is empowering from within. So they are not attracted to me. But somehow they see some aspects of Krishna through me, and therefore they are attracted because I speak Krishna Katha or I facilitate Krishna Katha. That's why they are attracted to me. But it's not me, it's Krishna who is attracting them. So we should always consider ourselves as instruments of Krishna and try to serve in that way. And if we are not attached to Dhanam, Janam, Sundari, and Kavitva, na dhanam, na janam, na sundari, kavitamba. What does that mean? I don't want wealth. I don't want followers. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. I don't want to enjoy the company of other people. And kavitamba. This is also very deep. I do not want to be known as a very learned devotee. Oh, any problem? Ask question to this person, and we feel very happy. Ah, everybody is coming to me for their doubts. I don't want to be known as a kavi, as a very learned person. No, I don't want followers. This, my dear friends, can only happen if we are secure in our relationship with Krishna. The point that we were making at the beginning of the class, that each and every one of us has an individual relationship with Krishna. We should not feel insecure. Sometimes we fight with devotees because we become insecure. Why? If this happens, then nobody will pay attention to me. No, nobody will think I am good devotee. So out of insecurity, we try to retaliate against devotees, or we try to speak against devotees, or we become envious of devotees. So we should give up this insecurity. We are seeing under Govardhan, there is place for everyone. Cows, animals, pets, priests, servants, Brajvasis, everyone was able to accommodate comfortably under Govardhan. There is no scarcity. Therefore, I said in spiritual world, there is no wait list, there is no population explosion, there is no crowding, there is no scarcity of anything. So we should become very, very secure. We should give up all insecurities and envy towards other devotees. And we should carry on our bhajan nicely. Get more attached to Hari Katha. Get more attached to Hari Nam. Get more attached to glorifying devotees. And get more happiness to see other devotees going up. To see other devotees getting exalted. See other devotees being praised. We should feel very happy. To see other devotees getting the attention, the glorification, making spiritual advancement. Other devotees are making spiritual advancement. We should feel very happy. We should make that as our happiness. I will become happy if devotees attend my class, or I will become happy if devotees glorify my class, or I will feel happy if devotees glorify my singing, or my kirtan, or my music instrument playing, or my bhakti vriksha, my management skills, my ability to conduct a festival. If I get praised for all these things, and this is the source of my happiness, if we are dependent on these external things to become happy, then we are setting ourselves up for a big disaster, my dear friends. We are setting ourselves up for a spiritual fall down. We are setting ourselves up for a spiritual crisis. If this is our rasa, if these type of uh, pratishtha and appreciation and distinction and glorification is where we are getting our spiritual nourishment from, then we really need a counselor. We really need a spiritual mentor, because this is a weed. This is a weed. There is Bhakti Lata, the creeper of bhakti, and there are weeds. This desire for pratishtha, man, samman, these are all weeds. They are not the real thing. The real thing is the bhakti plant. These weeds also look exactly like the bhakti plant, my dear friends. Sometimes it happens that tulsis we plant and some tulsis are growing. Early stage, it is difficult to differentiate. Is this a tulsi plant that has come up, sprouted, or is it a weed? So, in our immature spiritual development, we may not be able to discriminate, is this a weed or is this real pure devotional service? This is bhakti. But I'm telling you from the books of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, this type of desire for pratishtha and man, it is weeds that grow, and we must uproot them. We should make our happiness in glorifying devotees. We must make our happiness in seeing devotees make advancement and go up. And that we will be able to do only and only if we are secure in our relationship with Krishna. Therefore, we have our own deities. Become attached to them. Therefore, we have our own Bhagavatam set. Become attached to it. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if I lose everything, I will hold on to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And if Bhagavad Gita is snatched from me, I will hold on to Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And if someone snatches away my Bhagavatam also, with all my life and all my strength and all my heart and soul, I will latch on to, I will grab on to Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I will not let go of Chaitanya Charitamrita. This, my dear friends, is our happiness. This is our security. We are not dependent on external things. This is a test of our spiritual advancement. There are some examples in our scriptures. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत् सर्वं गोविंद विरहेण मे. Without Govinda, without my Shri Govinda, Yugaitam Nimesha. One Nimisha. Nimisha is the amount of time the upper and lower eyelids touch when we unknowingly blink. Now everybody became conscious of their blinking. But throughout the lecture, last 1.5 hours, when we were blinking without knowing, the amount of time the upper and lower eyelid touch and go, that touch is a nimish. It's a fraction of a second. That nimish feels like a yuga, feels like a combination of Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga for the gopis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying. That is the sign of spiritual advancement. In Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 31st, in 10th canto, chapter 31st, Gopi Geet, verse number 15 is very beautiful. Atati yad bhavan hanikananam truti yugayate tvam paschatam kutila kuntalam shri mukham chate jada udikshatam pakshmakrit drisham. The homework for everyone is to memorize this verse. Everyone, this is the homework, my dear friends. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 31, entitled the Gopi Geet, the song of separation of the gopis, verse number 15. 10.31.15. This verse we will all memorize. It's very beautiful. So, Atati yad bhavan ahanikananam. Atati means to travel. Yat means when. Bhavan means they're telling Krishna, oh my dear Krishna, when you go, travel. Ahani. Ahani means daytime. Nisha means night. Ahani means daytime. Ahar Nisha, day and night. So Ahani means daytime. Kananam. Kananam means forest. Dvadasha Kanam. There are 12 Kanans, 12 forests in Vrindavan. So Gopis are saying, my dear Krishna, when you go, when you travel, Atati Kanana, when you go to the forest, what happens? Truti Yugayate. What is Truti? Truti is the time taken by a sharp thorn. If you take a tender, newly sprouted, soft leaf of a lotus plant, take a very tender leaf of a lotus plant, a new leaf, and you take a sharp, strong thorn, and this is the leaf, this is the thorn, and you pierce the leaf, lotus leaf with the thorn. The amount of time required for the thorn to go through the tender leaf, to pass through the leaf, it's hardly fraction of a second. Soup, it goes through without any hindrance. That thorn, it goes through a tender, freshly sprouted small little baby leaf. It will go through. That time is called Truti. Very short time, Truti. Truti Yugayate. That fraction of a second becomes like a yuga. When Gopi is saying when Truti Yugayate, Truti becomes a yuga, full like a Divya Yuga. Why? Tvama Paschatam. Paschat means to see. Tvam apaschatam. When we cannot see you, Krishna, a truti, a fraction of a second feels like a long, painful yuga. Kutila kuntalam. Kutila means not straight, curled up. Kutila and kuntala means locks of hair. So the gopis are saying that Krishna, your curly locks of hair, kutila kuntalam, Shri Mukham Chate. Your Shri Mukh, your beautiful lotus face, Shri Mukham Chate. We are not able to see apaschatam because of our blinking, Kruti, because of our blinking of the eyelids. So they say that Jada. Jada means, what do you mean of Jada? Jada Bharat means foolish person. Fool. Jada, they are calling Jada to Lord Brahma. They are saying Lord Brahma is Jada. We have one head. He has got 4 heads. He should be intelligent. But we feel he's foolish. Why? Because he has made these eyelids. We have to blink. And when we blink, oh Sham Sundar, we are not able to see you. For a truti, for a fraction of a second. But that fraction of a second feels like a yuga for us. Because Te Mukham Shri Mukham, we are not able to see your beautiful lotus face. Therefore, we feel Jada, that this Brahmaji is Jada, he's foolish. Pakshma, he has made this Pakshma, lids, Pakshma Krid. He is the creator of our Drisham. He has created the Pakshma for our Drisham, for our eyes. So, very beautiful verse. The gopis are chastising Brahma. They say, in the madness of their ecstasy, they say that Brahmaji is Jada, he is a fool. Why? Because he has created Pakshma on our Drisham. He has created Pakshma on our eyes. He has created these eyelids. And when we blink, that truti, that one fraction of a second feels like yuga, like a full hundreds of thousands of years of painful separation from Krishna, because apashyata Shri Mukha. We are not able to see Krishna's lotus face for that truti, fraction of a second. So we'll sing it again nicely. Atati yad bhavan ahanikananam truti yugayate tvam apasyatam kutila kuntalam Shri Mukham chate jada udikshatam pakshma kridrisham. The gopis are saying, they're chastising Brahmaji in their love, in their ecstasy. So similarly, my dear friends, the Brajvasis are saying, when 7 days ended under Govardhan, it felt like less than a ghatika, less than 24 minutes. 1 week passed, they are saying. The Brajvasis are saying. This is the commentary of Vishwanath Chakra Thakur to verse number 23. We will start our next session, session number I think 19, from verse number 24 next Saturday. Now, before we start, I am going to read something from very beautiful, the same episode from Garga Samhita. In Garga Samhita, Gargacharya is giving very beautiful details. I wanted to cover them today, but we ran out of time. Already we went half an hour over time. So next time we will read from the same episode of Krishna lifting Govardhan from Garga Samhita. It's very, very beautiful. He talks about how the water did not come underneath the Govardhan. Gargacharya reveals the mystery, how the water of the Samvarta clouds could not come and flood underneath Govardhan. So I will stop here. It's 9 o'clock. Are there any questions or comments? I will give you the ability to unmute now. So you can just unmute and ask if you have any questions. Hare Krishna. Ram Kumar, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As usual, very, very good session, Prabhuji, full of nectar. And
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, today I found, couple of things to get clarified. So since I'm not so much aware of that, so that's what I'm asking. So Prabhuji, you just in the text number 23, there is let me read that. Lord Krishna, forgetting hunger and thirst and putting aside all considerations of personal pleasure. So related to, Krishna, obviously by Iksha Shakti, Krishna no need for eating and all, so he managed that hunger and all. But we do that 56 bhoga, right? We offer 56 bhoga, keeping consideration of Krishna fasted for 7 days and multiply by 8, we offer 56 bhoga. So is it because of our love and devotion to the Krishna, and just I wanted to hear from you, what is the reason do we offer that, like 56 bhoga, keeping consideration of Krishna fasted on that day? On 7 days.
Yeah, I have heard this, but I don't remember reading it anywhere, but I have heard it in Harikatha lectures that is the reason. But it is a traditional number as far as I know. In Jagannath Puri also, Chhappan Bhog, 56 items are offered. It's auspicious number, just like there is 64. 64 temples, Saraswati Thakur opened, 64 rounds we are supposed to chant, and 16 rounds or 108. These are all auspicious numbers. And offering 56 items to Krishna is a tradition, and it is traditionally done. That is my understanding. But of course, we can derive so many meanings, like Krishna fasted for 7 days. But actually, our Shastra explains that Krishna did not really fast. The Yashodamai fed him, and all that we will discuss next Saturday. So the Vrajavasis did not let Krishna fast; they fed him. Yashodamai fed. So they had a nice feasting also under Govardhan. But all those activities they did, we will discuss next Saturday. Hare Krishna. Anyone else has any question? Yes, Mukunda Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I just have a realization.
Yes, please
My
share.
realization is that you had said that when we are chanting attentively in the morning, or when we are hearing the glories of the Lord very attentively, then it feels like a very long time just passed away in little time. Like how the Brajavasis, they stayed under the Govardhan for 7 days and 7 nights, but for them it felt like it was only 24 minutes. 30 minutes. So like that, I have a realization. So my realization is that I chant 10 rounds attentively in the morning, and every time I feel like all of that time that I used to chant in the morning, it feels like it just went in like half an hour or less than what it actually takes to do 10 rounds.
Amazing. Very good.
Prabhuji. Thank you
That's
very
a
much.
very wonderful realization. I'm very happy to know that you are chanting 10 rounds in the morning. That is very good. Please keep it up. And thank you for sharing your will.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Does anyone else have any comment or question or correction? If not, then we can end the class here. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji, I want to get clarify. Shall I ask Prabhuji?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, it was like, yeah, everything. Let me try to understand my question. On that time, I had written everything based upon the past karma. Okay, Prabhuji, it is like since like whatever we do, like we have million lifetime, our karma generated. Then based upon that, like we take our this present life, like we are in this present life. So based upon like our past life, past to past life and everything. So so I'm just trying to clarify, like now people in the world, all people in the world, like we are trying to, spread as much as Krishna consciousness, and we try to make the devotee and all. So but I'm trying to understand, like based upon the past karma, people did the bad thing or good thing. Based upon that, those who did good thing, they become devotee, try to become devotee, junior devotee, senior devotee, pure devotee, impure devotee, whatever. Not impure devotee, devotee, then they are good devotee always. So those who did not good things in the past karma, they are still meat eating and all the regulative principles, they are not following, they are not devotee. So if we know that, they did something not good in the past karma, past life, and they have to suffer. They have to suffer for that. Even though we put much endeavor for that, making them devotee, they will not become devotee. So still we try our best way to do, like by book distribution, by every way. So I'm trying to understand, if we know that everything is based upon the past karma, so why still we are so much putting our endeavor in that, and in that way, Prabhuji, if you can put light, that will be good for me to clear.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this very nice question. This is a very important point. So your point is, if there is law of karma and we know that everything is happening by law of karma, then why should we really worry? Correct? That's the
Yeah,
question.
Prabhuji. Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is very important to understand. I'll give a brief answer and then we'll end the class. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that what is karma, what is akarma, what is vikarma, it is very difficult to understand. Even great learned scholars also become bewildered. Kim karmeti, kim akarmeti, kavayo api muhyate. Even the kavis, they become muhyate, they become bewildered. So we cannot understand what is the result of karma, what is the result of destiny, what is the result of free will. We don't know. Only Paramatma knows that this happened because of this past karma. We don't know. When we should not judge that this person is suffering or this person is not becoming devotee because of lack of pious credits or because of past karma, or this person got cancer because of past karma, this person had accident because of past karma. We should never think like that. It is a very big offense. If we think like that, that means we are taking the position of Krishna. We are taking the position of Paramatma. Therefore, in my Bhakti Shastri, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu said something which I have always kept it in my heart. And this everybody should understand very clearly. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, based on Bhagavad Gita's teachings, he says, the law of karma should be used for prevention. It should not be used for postmortem. So there is prevention. You exercise, you eat healthy to prevent a heart attack, correct?
Yeah.
And then there is postmortem. Somebody gets a sudden cardiac arrest and drops dead. Then to confirm, we do postmortem. You cut open the chest, remove the heart and see which artery was blocked. Okay? So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is saying, don't use the law of karma for postmortem. Use it for prevention. Which means we should understand the law of karma for ourselves and be careful so that we prevent ourselves from going to hell by being careful and not committing sinful activities. We, for ourselves. But law of karma knowledge should not be used for postmortem. That, oh, this devotee had an accident. Must have done this sinful activity. Or this devotee is not becoming devotee. Doesn't have enough spiritual credits, pious credits. We should never do postmortem. Like, only Paramatma knows who has done what. So we should never think. Therefore, we should just, Krishna has said, preach. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, preach. Tare dekho, tare kaho, Krishna Upadesh. Srila Prabhupada said, preach. Preaching is the essence. Saraswati Thakur said, if you have pran, if you have life, you preach. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying preach, Nityananda Prabhu is preaching, Haridas Thakur is preaching, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling us to preach, Srila Prabhupada is telling us to preach, our Guru Maharajas are telling us to preach, we should preach.
Yeah.
But whether they become devotee, why they are not becoming devotee, why somebody is becoming devotee, we should never judge. We should never do postmortem. Law of karma is for us to prevent. To prevent sinful activities, to prevent us from going to hell. Law of karma is for us. But if we apply law of karma to others and we analyze and dissect and do postmortem and try to judge others based on law of karma, we are taking the position of Krishna. We are taking the position of Paramatma. Only Krishna can do that. He is Paramatma. He is Sakshi. He is Chaitya Guru. Is that okay, Ramkumar Prabhu?
Yeah, exactly, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very well.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very important and intricate question you asked. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, dear devotees, it's 9:12 now. If I continue speaking, Mukta Sangha Prabhu will ban me and he will not allow me to speak next Saturday. So we'll stop here, and if Krishna desires, we will continue next Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Prabhuji, for the
Thank you,
beautiful
Prabhu.
class and
Hare
lecture.
Krishna. Pranam. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.